started with the chastity speakers, and now we have porn stars that are on stage, and we're doing this like hoe to church pipeline. What's the incentive to be good if we keep rewarding the women that are bad? What's up, guys? Welcome to an episode of the Sitdown. Today I have Jason Evert coming on our show. Welcome to the show. He is a chastity speaker. Yep. He actually came to my high school.
Yeah, so. Way back in the day. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. You remember me?
Oh, yeah. You were sitting in the fourth row on the left.
No way. You do not. I was like, come on.
No, I forget my own kid's name. So no, I don't remember it, but I remember the high school.
Yeah. So what's the background? How long have you guys been doing that?
Well, I started in college, kind of like helping out on youth group retreats, and the kids would come up to me and kind of just pour out all the junk that they were going through in terms of just heartbreak and drama. And I just realized they had no formation in human love. Then I did 3 years of kind of like crisis pregnancy counseling. And I just started feeling late. Like, okay, I'm meeting a woman and she's getting an abortion in like 45 minutes. Like, why couldn't I have met her when she was 15 instead of when she's 24? Because maybe if she learned about chastity then, she never would have dated this guy and be in this tough situation. So I realized if you really want to save the most unborn babies, you don't do it in front of an abortion clinic. You do it in a high school classroom. And so it started just talking, and then it snowballed pretty quickly from a classroom, to a high school, to a conference, to a stadium. And it's been about 100,000 kids a year for the last 27 years straight. Okay.
And so you go to the high schools and you're trying to get them before they make the poor decisions.
Yeah, high school. But I'll get to the high schools and they'll say to me, man, I wish I heard you when I was in 6th grade. Like, so it's high school, college, young adults, marriage prep sometimes.
And so do you think it's getting worse then?
The good is getting better and the bad is getting worse.
Okay.
And so the rates of sexual activity are continually going down for the last 35 years. More virgins, but the increase in abstinence is not necessarily an increase in virtue.
Right.
It's the guy saying, well, I've got porn, why do I need a girlfriend?
Right.
And the girl's saying, well, you're so hooked on that stuff, it's disgusting to me, I'm asexual now. And so they're not even going on dates.
Well, it's also the obesity epidemic, right? Who wants to have sex when you're fat?
Well, in my experience talking to high school kids, that's not what's motivating anybody to be abstinent or promiscuous.
Okay, so the guys are coming to you and saying it's just they're watching porn?
Well, they asked the high school students, like, why, because they did a huge survey. Like, are you afraid of getting AIDS? Are you afraid of getting pregnant? Why are you not having sex?
Right.
And what was interesting is that those reasons of fear of pregnancy and disease was actually at the bottom of the list. The number one reply nationwide was, it's against my religious and moral values. And that's from the high school kids. And so there's a good resurgence going there. But yeah, the one high school guy came to me and said, I get home from school on Friday and I watch 12 hours of porn on Saturday. Then I go to bed. And I wake up, I watch 12 hours of porn on Sunday. He said, I don't even like it. It disgusts me, but I don't know how to live without it. And it's like, imagine if that guy starts dating some 16-year-old girl. It's just going to be a dumpster fire. He has no concept of the difference between love and lust.
Okay. I want to do a live debate and a meet and greet in your city. The problem is I don't have any of your contact information, nor do I know what city you guys are in. So make sure you fill out the form in the description. Just click, it's a Google form, the link's in the description, so we can contact you when we have an event in your city. Thanks, guys. Well, wouldn't you say, though, that's sort of, because I guess my thing with porn is, what are they supposed to do in the meantime when the average age of first marriage is 30?
Yeah. No, people are getting married later and later. Yeah. So, well, what they're supposed to do is actually learn self-mastery. And the reason I say that is because if I get married and I don't know how to practice self-control, I will never make love to my wife. What I'll do is use her body as an outlet for what I think of as my sexual needs, and the woman's heart can tell the difference. Like, my wife was not created to be an outlet. I got 2 daughters. They're not supposed to be any man's outlet. And so I can't give myself to a woman if I don't have self-control. Well, then don't you think though, like, you don't think sex is a need for men? No, it's a want. Okay, so you would say it's a want. Yeah, it's a great want. Okay. And it's a great thing. The sexual urge is a gift of God, but it's not a need. Like, oxygen's a need, water's a need,
then why do men still watch porn if they don't get sex? Like, wouldn't you say based on their actions it's a need?
Because it's a want.
Like, what evidence do you have that it's a want and not a need?
Well, nobody's ever died from an absence of porn. Like, I got rid of my porn when I was maybe like 18 years old, and I've never gone back. I've never been on Pornhub. I've never gone on OnlyFans, never once in my entire life. And that was long before I got married. And I wasn't like getting this pent up sexual aggression that needs to get released somewhere. That is like a repressive, neurotic, Freudian idea of sexuality, and it's not healthy.
Yeah, but when you're not, I think people kind of roll their eyes at that because half of pastors end up having affairs. So even the people that are the most dedicated to the religion, there's the priest scandal. So it just seems like when you could say that, but we look at the results and they're still the same.
Yeah.
Where people end up cracking over time. Because, you're lucky you ended up actually getting married. Some guys don't, Yeah. So what are they supposed to do in the meantime?
Well, you're not supposed to use a woman in the meantime.
Well, maybe she's using him.
They're both using each other is what I would say.
Yeah. Well, I never understand why the language with a lot of conservative speakers is that the women are automatically being used when a lot of times the women are predators. Like the women, like you go to a concert, women throw themselves at the guy. You're on stage,
Well, it doesn't happen to me, but I see it.
Yeah. I mean, but you see how women, change when the guy's on stage.
Yeah.
So, why is it always assumed that the man is the predator and not the woman?
No, you make a very fair point.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to argue against it because so often it's just like, she's the victim, he's the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And well, wait a minute, maybe she's using him just for a different reason than he's using her.
Yeah.
And it just gets undercover. So I think it needs to get called out is that it's not better because she's agreeing to it. Now we just have two people agreeing to use each other.
Yeah, well, because that's really kind of my issue with a lot of the chastity speakers is that you guys use language like the woman is broken. And I think it gives women a get out of jail free card where they can just do whatever you want and then be rewarded after.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think female accountability is something important, needs to be addressed. You can't just say, well, this happened to her and therefore she can just do whatever the heck she wants. That's not even treating her like a human being because then you're treating her like she lacks free agency.
Correct.
Like, you don't even have the freedom to make your own decisions because you've been determined by your past.
Yeah.
So I would be very hesitant to speak of a girl as broken because if I'm going to esteem and laud the goodness of virginity, in the same breath, I have to also explain, but ladies, your value doesn't come from your virginity. Like your sexuality has value because of you. You're the gift and you still have yourself to give. Anybody can start over. You're not a chewed up piece of gum. You're not some rose that's been plucked dry and that's your value.
Yeah.
No, you can start over. And even if something bad's happened to you, that doesn't need to determine
But you understand,
the future.
you go into the real world and the results will show that you are chewed up to some degree because you are not going to get the same attention from men that you did before after you made certain choices.
You could you could get more attention, but it's the wrong attention.
No, but I'm saying once men view you as a whore in a certain social community, there will be repercussions. Yeah.
But I don't think you should care what a man thinks about you if you don't actually love and respect him in the first place.
Yeah, but they're the buyers, right?
Yeah.
You have to sell them on marriage.
Yeah, but if a guy thinks a woman is a whore, to me, she's not on sale. What I mean by that is, I try to let the women know that, some girls well, what good guy would want a girl like me? And it's well, if a guy judges you by his past, he's not that good of a guy. Look for a guy who can actually see your future instead of someone who's always rubbing your nose in your past. It's if you've owned it. And you know what? I screwed up. I messed up. Yeah, some bad stuff happened to me, but I made some stupid decisions in the meantime. And I realized that's not what I wanted in the first place. And I want to start over. So I actually believe redemption is possible. And if I didn't believe in it, my 8 kids wouldn't exist today.
Well, I'm not against redemption necessarily, but I like to be accurate because you never want to sell false hope. And there are women that are too damaged. I always say someone will do it if you're thin. Because if you're fat, guys just are not going to do it. There's no greater sin than being. That's why these porn stars still get married. It's the obesity epidemic.
That's why they get married?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand the connection. That's why they get married.
Because you don't think men want thin women?
Oh, obviously men and women would prefer a partner who's fit.
Yeah, but women are attracted to other things. We like the guy on stage.
But are you attracted to obese guys though? If the same guys, same qualities, same bank account, one's perfectly in shape and the other's not.
Hey, there's a reason comedians get bitches, right? You know what I mean? Because comedians are funny. So there's other things that women are attracted to. Men aren't attracted to female comedians.
Well, there aren't as many for starters.
Shane Gillis isn't conventionally attractive, but he's got a very attractive girlfriend so.
Well, I think humor is often an indication of intelligence sometimes, which women find attractive because intelligent mates are more likely to secure provisions.
Yeah.
They're also more fun to be with.
Yeah, correct.
And so those are attractive qualities. But all things being the same, you prefer fit men, we prefer fit women. But I know lots of really happy married couples who are not in great shape and lots of married couples who are in great shape and their marriage is a dumpster fire.
Well, yeah, because they have more choice, right? So it's kind of like when you have no choice, when you're fat, who's really going to want to date you when you're fat?
Well, we're all going to get fat.
That's
to some extent.
you might, not me.
No. What I mean is like
Hey,
when you're 80, when you're 90, and the wrinkles show up, and it's a little harder to put off the fat and all that stuff. What comes? I'm not planning on getting fat. I do CrossFit 5-6 days a week.
No,
I love staying in shape. I'm always at the gym.
Yeah, we're
I love
media.
it.
We stay fit.
I love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when the wrinkles show up and the sex drive drops, and my spouse doesn't look like she did on her wedding night. Then what I'm left with is, why did I choose this woman?
Right.
Did I choose her because of the sensual reactions she created in me, or because I actually value her as a human person? And if you put your stakes in that, then you've got a marriage that's going to last.
Well, to me, this sounds nice, but men are still attracted to youth and beauty and purity. So I think that's kind of selling a dream, and I don't like selling dreams. So if you lose weight, you will have more choice as a woman, even more so than virtue. That's I mean, because all the you haven't been out in the field in a while. You haven't been dating, I don't think, right?
No, I haven't been dating in 23 years.
The number one way people are meeting now is online. You might say that's wrong or right, but that's how it's happening.
Yeah.
So that's visual.
Yeah, no, I'm not in the field in the sense that I'm dating, but I'm spending every single week in front of high school and college and young adults who are pouring out to me the frustration. Like I met a woman recently. She went on dates with 27 different guys. 25 of them were hooked on porn. And she started just bringing up on the first date, is this something that you're into? And if they said no, if they said yes, then there was no second date. And she started getting really depressed, like, am I ever going to find a guy who's just not hooked on porn? And she did, and she's got an awesome marriage because she didn't want to compete.
So she's
with these other women.
incentivizing lying.
No, she's incentivizing purity of heart in a man.
Not necessarily, because if the other guy just lies, then boom.
Well, he could
This
lie.
is what I mean. Conservatives, we just tend to be naive.
Well, but the lies will come to the surface eventually, right?
Right.
It's all going to get exposed.
But is that really a woman's place to police what her husband's doing?
It's his job.
Yeah, it's his job, not hers.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's just going to be a neurotic woman. Like, we were worried about what, porn? And at what point is porn an addiction?
Well, one is, if it's not so much, is it once a day, is it once a month, is it once a year? It's when the compulsion arises, do I have the capacity to say no to it? And if the answer is no, then you got a problem. But I think we got to realize she's not just picking for her a mate. One high school girl said to me, she said, Jason, I found out my dad looks at porn. She said, I used to look up to him. Now I can't even look at him. Like, I thought he was a better man than that. Jason, my dad's lusting after girls 2 years older than I am. My mom's sleeping in the next room. And then he erases internet history, things we don't know, kisses my mom, goes to work the next day. She said, it makes me sick how much I resent the guy. It creeps me out when he hugs me now. And it's like...
Wait, how does she know he's watching porn?
Oh, the kids always find out. The kids always find out. When the boy finds the dad's porn, his addiction becomes the son's. And when the daughter finds the dad's porn collection, she could get hooked, or she could just feel completely sexually unsafe.
But how?
Oh, phones, internet search histories, you name it. The kids always find the junk. And so I think a woman has a duty to protect her children from a guy.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. But then do we have the same energy for women's addiction to social media? Because that's far worse. Well, absolutely worse. You're putting a woman, a wife on...
Meaning more common?
More common and more ramifications. I mean, you're putting a wife on... porn can be useful in certain instances. What if the man's deployed, right?
How is it useful?
Because if he's deployed, do you want him to cheat? I would disagree with you.
To be faithful.
Well, yeah, and this is where
Porn's cheating.
I disagree. Okay. I think it's a tool, and I don't really like the idea of men policing what other men do in their house. So, to me, if there's situations where it's useful for men.
Can you build out wedding vows where we include porn in the vows somehow?
I mean, are we going to include social media where women market themselves to other men? No.
No, but that's part of fidelity.
But the churches, they don't chastise women that have opened social media accounts. But you guys have, we keep hearing about all this porn addiction. And it's like, well, where is the energy for the women? You're marketing yourself to other men.
Well, the women are looking at porn too, right? I mean, not as much.
And worse porn. Worse porn, far more violent.
And so they're looking at it. And to me, it's not like who's worse than the other. It's all bad. I'm cheating on my wife if I'm turning away from her to find satisfaction in the body of another woman. It's not like I promise to be true to you except for my eyeballs, and I'll be faithful to you except my imagination, and I won't have an affair with you unless it's with 3,000 women online. So, it's like, that's not fidelity.
Okay, well, I think that's teaching women to be kind of neurotic.
No,
you're gonna police his search history.
But that's like buying a car.
That's completely out of order.
Fidelity isn't an upgrade. It's a standard package. It's like if I sold you a car and I'm like, wait, you want tires and wheels? Oh, that's the premium upgrade package for 10 grand
I'll put it
more.
like this. Do you agree that we shouldn't force women to have sex in marriage? We would agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
Marital rape is a real thing.
Okay, we agree.
It creates a lot of frigidity.
Okay, so what is he supposed to do if she will not sleep with him for years? And that's common.
Okay, it does happen. And whenever I talk to college kids, I tell them abstinence is going to be a part of your marriage. And for some of you, heroic seasons of abstinence are going to be demanded of you in marriage. And the example I give, friend of mine, his marriage was going great for a long time, and then his wife started having the flashbacks of the abuse that she had suffered as a little girl in that way. And she told him, honey, I need to go to counseling. I need to kind of sort through some stuff. In the meantime, I just can't do this just right now. I just need a little time because it's just bringing back a lot of stuff. And good husband, totally understood. I can show love to you in other ways. And a week of abstinence went by, and then a month, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And he's really wrestling with God about this. Like, God, I didn't sign up for this. And Jesus is like, well, you did. Good times, bad, sickness, and health. But he felt like such less of a man because his bride was frigid to him in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But he realized that he had a broken notion of masculinity, that by staying on this kind of cross of sacrifice for her, he was becoming more a man to her than any man had ever been in her life. But imagine if he didn't know that his abstinence could be an expression of love, and he got pouty, petulant, whiny, distant, angry, and unfaithful, and addicted to porn because he couldn't get his needs met. His wound would have infected hers. But he was healed through this process in his idea of masculinity, and his wife was healed too. They got a stronger marriage than ever before. And so to me, a woman who is in porn, who has probably a very, very broken life, you'd agree, is not something to be used for me.
Not broken. She's having a great
self-mastery.
time. She's enjoying it. She's having fun.
Well, I mean, I've talked to them. One I know quit after her 4th abortion. Many I know were sexually abused prior to going into the industry.
That's what they'll say.
And they act like I'm having the best time ever.
Yeah.
They have very high rates of suicide, depression, alcoholism.
Yeah, because
there's
there's consequences later, but during it, they enjoy having sex on camera.
They like the money.
They like the money. They like having sex on camera. It's not broken. It's not.
Men.
What?
They're using men from the other side of the camera.
I mean, you could say that,
Well,
but they enjoy the attention.
Yeah.
I mean, attention. That's what I mean with the porn stars. Like, they have an attention addiction. A lot of times, social media can be a porn pipeline for women.
Yes.
A lot of women. I started on TikTok. A lot of the women there's a girl I knew. She did travel content.
Okay.
And then social media. I think being in it, there's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make a lot of money. Sometimes you make none. And if you're not smart, a lot of times during the downs, they know they'll make a lot of money again if they start an OnlyFans. And like, I've seen women I used to make content with. Yeah. Like they're on OnlyFans now.
Yeah. No,
so so they're totally doing it for the money, or they just like being naked on camera. Some girls are like that.
I mean, I can't speak to their intentions, but I can tell you they're not joyful. They're not happy at the
when
end
there's
of the day.
Consequences.
Yeah, they're not.
But that's what I have an issue with, this like hoe to church pipeline that we have, because it just takes away the consequence.
Okay.
Like there's it started with the chastity speakers, and now we have porn stars that are on stage, and we're doing this like hoe to church pipeline. What's the incentive to be good if we keep rewarding the women that are bad?
To me, you've already suffered the consequence of it.
No.
Because of what should I guess the better way to put it, what should the consequence be? Like, is she in like forever timeout? Like, you cannot witness?
I think once you've done porn, you have forfeited the ability to go into marriage. That is not fair to a man.
How about a woman who had an open social media account, was totally checked out from her own marriage, then got her junk together, and now wants to stand on stage to tell women, hey, you can't do that stuff that I used to do because it's going to be toxic to your marriage. Should we give her a platform?
No, I think that's brag. It's like I got my cake, and I got to have my cake and eat it too. Now I'm bragging and throwing it in your face.
But who gets to preach then? Only the people who don't have a story? I was perfect, be like me?
Okay, here, I'll put it in this way. I would prefer that, actually. Yeah. I totally would prefer, because I think there's got to be standards for the people that we have on stage. Otherwise, it turns into a clown show. That's what I was telling you earlier. If you just let anyone represent Christianity and conservatism, then it's just going to turn people off. The number one reason people leave the church is hypocrisy, because I don't want to be lectured by a porn star. Yeah. You have given up the right to lecture me. Well, you have given up. Yes, actually, correct. Once you've done porn, you sit in the back of the church forever.
What about murder?
And I would love, yes.
Okay, so Paul shouldn't have written 1 Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, because...
Yeah, I'm not that religious.
Or how about David? How about all the Psalms? He was a murderer. He was an adulterer.
I don't want to hear from him.
He wrote the whole book of Psalms.
No, I don't want to hear from him.
Paul, there goes half the New Testament.
I guess it's gone. I'll be consistent here.
Yeah.
No, once you've done certain life choices, I don't want to hear from you. I'd rather hear from the people that did it personally.
But what about pride,
and I'm not sure
vanity?
that the other thing too is I don't think that a porn star is the same thing as Paul. And we got to stop giving these, because you know what? I interview these women and they literally think they're Paul. They literally think when you say stuff like that, they take this and they use it to lecture everybody, and then we all get tortured.
Now, are you a hypocrite because your past is different than your present? Or because your preaching is different than your present? What makes you a hypocrite?
I would love there to be a penance period of like 20 years.
Okay.
So you need the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
True.
So even when you were talking about not judging a woman on their past, I think that's stupid. You have to judge people on their past. Now, if you have a stand, like if the woman went to church and didn't talk for 10 years, stood in the back, had a lot of humility, had her kids, got married, did all that, and then started talking.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't like it, but I'd respect it a little more.
But what about porn for guy? Like I struggled with all that growing up. I finally got rid of it when I was like 18.
Yeah.
When should I be allowed to tell guys, hey, this is like smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day. It ain't going to turn out well. You don't need the scar tissue. Ditch this stuff. Learn self-mastery so you can really look at a woman rightly. When can I start speaking on that?
I would never.
Would never speak on it?
Never.
So if you've looked at porn, you can't tell guys it's
not
bad.
even the porn. It's just you guys grew up in a different time. You got married at what, 25?
I was 26, 27.
26, 27.
Yeah.
That's getting pushed to 30, 35. It's not realistic to tell people to wait that long. And the other issue is most men don't have the choice to get married because most women don't want average men.
But the longer I waited for my, I got married as a virgin.
Yeah.
And as the years went on, I didn't become more and more just neurotic and waiting to explode.
Yeah.
I learned, okay, I need to stay away from this stuff, hang out with the right people, avoid places I want to make major mistakes. And it's not this like neurotic explosion that's awaiting to take place.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds nice, but again, if this was something natural, then more people could do it.
But what's the alternative? Is the alternative, I can't say no to my desires, and then thank goodness I get a wife, and now she can be my outlet when I'm bored and lonely and angry and stressed and tired.
The alternative is, well, I don't have an alternative because the world's going the way it's going, unfortunately. Women aren't going to get married. The average age is going to go up. And feminism is
Do you
basically...
think the pendulum could swing back?
No, you guys have been selling that. And I was the teenager. I listened to not just... I don't know if you said that in particular, but conservative media sell that to me for like 10, 15 years. And there's no indication it's going back because there's more sex workers than ever.
It's like all the trad wife stuff.
A quarter of women have an STD. The obesity rate's high. Like it's not coming back. If you go into any church, I go to these churches, I do the interviews. Even if you go to churches, it's single men and the young women fawning over the guy on stage. So that's it.
Yeah.
It's never.
But what about like this whole trad wife thing going on? Do you see that? Is maybe some people saying, hey, I have a biological clock. I don't need to find my fulfillment in corporate America. I want to settle down and make sourdough bread and have chickens. It's
marketing.
Okay. So,
I mean, did you see Sarah Stock? You're Catholic, right?
I'm Catholic, but I don't.
No, there's a really famous one.
Okay.
And she did what you guys were saying. She said, I'm waiting till marriage. I'm doing the right thing. And this young man, he signed up for it. He said, yay, I found the girl in the flower dress. Yeah. And they got their marriage blessed by the Pope.
Oh, well, okay.
And then you know what happened after? She was cheating with her boss.
Okay.
Because when women tend to make men wait for sex, they're not that attracted to him. And they tend to pick a guy that they're more attracted to later. So
if they lack self-control.
Yeah,
right?
when do women ever have self-control? I mean, look at what we're living in.
No, it's a decision. I mean, you have just as much capacity for self-control as a man.
And I wish, well, we could say capacity, but there's consequences for men, not women.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like now we have the society, like what's the incentive for self-control?
No. I mean, I won't argue with you on that point because I think a lot of times guys get killed on this stuff, but it's not politically correct to call out a woman on, what are you bringing to the table? And if anyone says that, they're misogynist, so people kind of...
I think you should start. I want to inspire you. I think you should go to these high schools, right? Yeah. And you should start saying that to women.
No, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
I lead these wilderness backpacking retreats for like single young adults. And we were sitting around the campfire discussing, okay, what is a guy's job to bring to a marriage?
Yeah.
And what's the woman's job to bring to the marriage? And it was real easy to say the guy does this.
Yeah.
And then when it came time to discuss, okay, what's the woman's role within her marriage? What came to the surface is that the art of being a wife has been lost.
Okay.
And they weren't quite sure because they've been raised in all this feminism of like, we don't even need a man. We don't need this stuff. And then it's time to come to the table. Like, how do I relate to him? How do we build a marriage together? Like, what am I bringing to the table? They wanted to know, but honestly, we're having trouble putting the finger on exactly what it was. So I think there needs to be a renewal.
Well, what would you tell them?
I mean,
like what should men get out of marriage?
Well, the most important thing you get out of marriage is a wife who is hopefully your best friend, who's true to you and faithful to you and can be your biggest cheerleader, and you guys can kind of build the business of a marriage together, and that she could be your teammate, your number one ally, your source of strength and consolation, your lover, your friend. I mean, if you had to, I mean, people use that phrase like cheaper to keep her in terms of a wife.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard that. And part of me is like, well, part of me wants to say, no, but part of me wants to say, well, yeah. Because like if I had to outsource the labor of my wife to independent contractors, I'd have to hire like an Uber driver, a chef, a housekeeper, an interior designer, a dental hygienist, a veterinarian, a clinical child psychologist, a judge, a parole officer, a lover. And that's a lot of 1099 forms I'd have to fill out for the woman.
No, you just need to get an au pair. They're not paid that much.
Yeah. And she might not do.
It's like 20 an hour. My sister works at a daycare. They're not paid much.
Well, to do all of those tasks. And granted, she's not going to do them all perfectly.
Nannies do.
Yeah, but I don't want a live-in nanny. I want a companion.
Yeah, but the issue is like they're not getting that anymore.
But I think the church has a role to do that, even if it's not very politically correct to do.
Yeah.
This is part of the formation in human love and marriage preparation that hasn't been happening. I mean, marriage preparation needs to start like 10 years sooner. Instead of going to some engaged counter weekend before your wedding. And that's like triage.
Do you believe that men should get obedience from their wives?
Well, when the New Testament talks about wives, submit to your husbands, obey, but there are two Greek words, is my understanding. Obey is used for slaves and masters and parents and children. But that word obey in the Greek is not used for husband-wife. The Greek word used for husband and wife is submit, and in the Latin it's submissio, come under the mission of the husband. What's the mission of the husband? Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And if I'm doing that, I can't see many women who'd have a problem coming under that mission. But guys aren't living out their mission. Women aren't. It's just this endless
What do you
button
mean?
of heads.
You talk to married couples? You do, don't you?
Endlessly. I get the emails.
What are you
of
talking
stuff.
about? Women don't listen for no reason all the time. I grew up in a Catholic area. The standard is them not listening. That is the norm for no reason. You'll have a good husband. Sorry, you will have a great husband that does everything right, and the wife still won't listen.
Yeah.
So to act like it's because the husband isn't following God, that's not true. There's husbands that do everything right, and the wife doesn't listen.
No, you're true.
So what then?
Yeah, I think a lot of that happens to be her upbringing. She saw independence as a survival technique, and I can't have any man control me, or I'm going to lose my freedom and I'll get taken advantage of. And so I'm going to just be obstinate and defiant.
Wait, say that again?
That I'll lose my freedom if I let a man tell me what to do, because there's a distrust at the core of that connection.
Right, yeah.
That's probably, she's living out of a wound. It's not to, dismiss any accountability she has in it, but it's like, okay, where's she coming from with this mentality that if I trust this man I've given my life to, that he's going to take advantage of me? There's a trust wound there that is not getting addressed. And so she's living out of that wound, that place of brokenness.
But I don't even think it's that. I think it's selfishness. And we keep going selfishness and brokenness. And I don't think this is I don't think that's helpful to hear as a woman, because it's like, when we don't want to listen, it's because we want what we want. And it's hard. Like, that's the hard part of being in a relationship or being married, is doing what he wants to do instead of you. Going to school where he one that is really common is sending the kids, she wants the more expensive school. He wants the cheaper. Women like spending money, right? So
they spend 80% of family?
85%. Yeah. And so you get these, that's not him not following God. It's like, let's save money for college.
Yeah.
And that's, I just disagree with that. I don't think it's like the husband not following God most of the time.
I think it's a combination of factors, and sometimes it's 90% this and 10% that.
Yeah.
But I've heard women say, who are living this out, wow, it was really freeing when I just finally let him take the lead.
Yeah.
And like, if things go south, well, he has extreme ownership. Hey, I made a bad call on that one. Yeah. And she just felt like, wow, I'm really relaxed now that I'm actually letting him take the lead instead of trying to be the neck that's turning the head endlessly. It's an unhealthy dynamic.
I hate that phrase. Yeah. I'm the neck. That's the dumbest phrase I've ever heard.
It's a very unhealthy dynamic. It's manipulative at its core, and it seeps even into sexuality, where she'll begin to use sexuality as a reward and punishment to control, to manipulate, and there's a lot of healing.
But isn't it kind of the same thing when you say like, aren't you teaching women to distrust men by saying the children can obey the parents and we're supposed to trust the parents, but the wife can't obey the husband? And because submit, I mean, it's submit, obey. What's really the difference? Well,
I think there's a world of difference between the two in terms of
women want there to be. Because then we'd have to listen. That'd be way too hard.
Well, submit is to stand underneath the authority of the mission of the other. So there's still a hierarchy that he's the head of the church, the domestic church, the family. And he's calling the shots, and she should follow his lead in love, that he's setting the pace of self-giving love. And she's following. That's the ideal. Is it the norm? No.
Oh, God, no.
No.
Obey. Like, what is that sound? That sounds like obey to me. If you're under his mission, if you're under your boss's mission, he says do something, you do it.
Well, it isn't a slave master parent. Like, my child is not, or my wife is not my possession, like a master slave kind of thing. It's not.
Oh, God, white guys, please be. You know what? They all torture us. These Catholic women, they torture everybody because the husbands don't tell them no. I wish it was like that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, no, because a lot of times, speaking from a husband's perspective, I entered into marriage and I never saw my parents fight ever. Not once in their 50+ year marriage. Yeah. And that was an awesome gift. It really was.
Yeah.
But it was also a handicap because I never saw conflict resolution unfold of like, well, how do you deal with this when you start butting heads? And so I started, especially early on in marriage, seeing peace as the goal. Like, we need to keep peace because that's where I'm at. I'm used to seeing a lot of peace. I want to make peace. Yeah. But that leads to a lot of capitulation of just like, well, let's just let everybody have what they want so we can have peace. But it's a false peace. And so as I started to mature more as a husband,
things get pent up. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, they get pent up and you just look the other way sometimes. It's like, because I'm going to have to address some hard things and it's going to create some tension. It's going to create problems. And so, Crystal and I are very open. Like, we don't have an easy marriage. We've gone to marriage counseling a ton in our marriage. We don't have a clue what we do because we just got married like 23 years ago. So we're like still figuring it out. We were in counsel a while back and the counselor says, Jason, I want you to start using I feel statements instead of, you statements. And I'm like, okay, well, I feel. What? So I was like, okay, I feel she is wrong. And he's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. And we don't really know how to communicate. We're totally trying to figure it out.
I would tell the counselor to go fuck himself. But
you're going to tell the language that
how is he going to tell another man how to talk in his house?
What he's trying to teach me to say something that she'll understand what I'm saying.
What does the counselor know?
No,
he's going to tell you the best way to do it?
Good man. It's been super helpful. But I've got a steep learning curve.
If she's submitting to you, they're your rules. So it's like, who is he to tell you what your rules are?
Well, it's the question of what will actually enable her to hear what it is I'm saying instead of going on the defensive. So instead of coming at her, I'm coming to her.
The only thing women respond to is power. I'm telling you, it's if there's no consequence, nothing.
So they wouldn't respond to love.
Oh God, no! Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my God.
No, because sometimes
that's how you give. This is how we all get tortured because the woman is a bitch, right? And they're like, just love her instead of saying, just shut the fuck up, please. And then we all get tortured.
So would that work? So if my wife were upset about something I did legitimately, she's got a legitimate grievance, I can just tell her to shut up.
I wish more men would, because then the wives go and torture everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's got to be able to shoot straight with her, obviously.
Yeah.
And not make peace the highest goal.
Yeah.
But in the same respect, sometimes you can de-escalate a situation with more mercy and kindness than you can with a hammer.
I wish that were true.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't. And it's just like,
I would tell that counselor to F off. Hell no.
No, all I say is I've got a lot to learn as a husband. And I do. And you get married thinking you got it all together. And then 3 weeks in, you're like, I'm a jerk. Like, I'm not forgiving. I'm not a very patient person because you don't even know what you have until it's tested.
What do you mean you're not a patient person?
Well, I remember my wife and I were at a mattress store with the kids, and the kids were having a blast jumping on mattress off. We get to the cash register, and the guy's like all frazzled of just seeing our kids bouncing all over the place. And he could tell we were kind of stressed. And he's like, whoa, he said, I'm a really patient person because I have no kids.
Yeah.
And I laugh, and I'm like, well, that's saying you have a lot of endurance because you don't run marathons. It's like you don't know what you have until it's tested. And so marriage will bring all your junk to the surface like oil in water.
Right.
You think you're merciful. You think you're forgiving. You think you're loving. You think you're patient. And then your wounds get pressed on and you realize, ow, I need a lot of healing in this area in my own life.
But you're patient now, no?
It's a work in progress.
What do you mean? After 20, really? Not now?
Oh, I got a ways to go. Yeah.
What do you got to do?
I measure with my wife if I'm growing in love with her by my quickness to forgive. That to me is the measurement that I'm actually growing in love with her. Not is she more attractive? I mean, she's gorgeous. I mean, she's beautiful. But that's
what I mean. She stayed thin. That's how she's able to pull it off.
Well, she had eight.
If she was fat,
children.
You would. If she,
had
no,
eight
I'm
children.
saying if you met her and she was fat, you wouldn't have seen her. There's no way.
I've been in the delivery room with her when she weighed far more than I did, and I didn't stop loving her.
No, but I'm saying like in the beginning, because you guys get wife goggles. You always see them the same.
Actually,
it's kind of cute.
She was thinner when I dated her than when I met her. I fell in love with her when I met her.
But she was never fat.
No, I mean,
I've seen her when I was in high school.
She's a beautiful woman, and I'm not going to argue that. That's like off in the beginning.
That should be in the first thing in chastity. Stay thin, ladies.
Well, I mean, but at the end of the day, that's not going to keep you together because it's like the Ed Sheeran stupid song.
It'll help.
I'm in love with the shape of you. Well, that'll work out real well. Well, so too bad you're not in love with her.
Okay. Yeah.
Every woman's got a shape. That's repeatable.
Okay, so men don't even get the thin wife in marriage?
Well, it'd be great if they do, but the fact is that your body is the body's a repeatable thing. If I fall in love with a woman's body, someone else is always going to have a better body.
That's
but
true.
If I fall in love with who she is as a human being, that can never be. I get to keep that forever. Body could go up and down, pregnancy, miscarriage, this, that. But if I've got the value of the person, you got something that could last.
Well, then
if I hang my coat on the shape of her body, good luck with that one.
And the marriage rate's just going to keep going down because we're big fat slut whores in this society. So if men are going to fall in love with who we are as people, it's just not going to be good.
Who's more obese in America, males or females?
The reason they misinterpret that statistic, on paper it looks like both.
Isn't it like 40%?
It looks like 50-50, but it's actually worse to women when you include visceral fat, which is and like the other thing is men that have high. Yeah, I'm just pretty into like fitness stuff, so I don't really accept the excuse of having kids and getting fat. Because I know you can't lose the weight. So that's a choice.
Oh, you can. I mean, there's women in my CrossFit gym doing double unders 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, fitness is a choice.
So I don't think the coddling is like helpful. Like it's women stay thin. That's it.
No, I don't want to coddle anyone. I just want to point out to young people.
Calorie deficit.
If you're marrying her because of what she looks like, you could marry Miss Universe, but if she is not a virtuous woman, you will have a miserable life.
I totally agree. But, people are just going to look at you and say, well, you got a thin wife. So like, who are you to tell them they can't have that?
I'm blessed because of what my wife looks like, but they say that the beauty on the outside never gets into the soul, but the beauty of the soul reflects itself upon the face. Yeah. And so she's got to have, to me, the beauty of the soul, or this thing's going to implode.
I know, but men are getting neither, so they might as well get the hot chick.
Well, how long is it going to last if that's what you chose her for?
It's not working either way. I look at divorce filings, and like, if anything, the conservatives are worse. One of the worst divorces I ever saw was from Michael Knowles' church. Okay. So like, and it's because the incentive structure, the more you have homemakers, the more money they can take. So. Okay. Yeah. So. Even if they go for the like quote unquote virtuous woman, there's no guarantee either.
It's because she has no side separate income stream. When they go through the divorce courts, it just all comes out of his. Is that what it is?
Well, she can put him on lifetime alimony in a lot of states.
Isn't that like 10% of all divorce cases there's alimony?
That's still high.
Yeah.
If you're part of the 10%, I've interviewed men that can't retire now.
Yeah. But aren't women like twice as likely to fall into poverty after divorce?
Because
like
they're bad. Women make 85% of consumer spending decisions. So it's because women make poor financial choices. Okay. Yeah. So they don't realize how much their husbands do for them. I'm sure you help with the budget and the spending.
Yeah,
it's a
the budget's my thing.
I know. I just can imagine. So like I'm from 1 to 10 and like all the girls have Amazon packages. None of the boys do. It's just women are horrible with money. Yeah. Because it's hard. It's easier for us to get. Yeah. All I have to do is talk for a living. That's easy.
I mean, I know some couples that are different. Like she's the finance person and he's kind of the less frugal person.
85% it's not. Okay. So that's why they're more likely to go into poverty.
It's not because maybe she stayed at home for 25 years as a stay-at-home mom, doesn't have a degree or career, and then he has an affair with his secretary, and now she's got no job and is getting $400 a month in child support.
No, nowadays, to be honest, there's a lot of opportunity for women that know how to be wives and mothers because women don't want to raise their kids. So like my sister works at a daycare. She has no skills. So imagine if she like actually had a family before. You can, there's nannies all the time. Like if you go into rich areas, they all have nannies.
So you don't think there's any legitimacy to the fact that he's had a job for 25 years to build up his professional career. He's bringing in 6 figures. She's staying at home doing all the domestic tasks. The thing implodes for whatever reason. We're not gonna say whose fault it is. Now, where are they at career-wise following a divorce? He's in a much stronger financial position than she is objectively, no matter how they spend money.
You're assuming she would have had a good career. Most women fail.
Well, she could. She could have had a career. She would have had 25 years focused on one thing. I mean, I look at my own family. My sister's extremely successful professionally, you know, and she's got kids and a husband. So, like, I know women are capable. They're not.
Maybe
dumb.
She has a wife, you know. I don't know. Like someone who has to watch the kids. It's usually either a nanny, daycare. It's not her.
My husband's successful as well.
Well, then who's doing it? Who's watching the kids?
Oh, she's able to work from home a lot too. So they found a way to work it out. So
yeah, usually they outsource it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is not ideal, obviously.
Yeah. But it's like it's kind of just saying you can do it all, but you can't.
Yeah.
So, but going back to the alimony, no, I don't think you're entitled to a man's money. I think you should be grateful that he allowed you to stay home. And are you entitled in the future? No. You made a choice. You didn't have to make that choice.
Yeah. No,
you made a choice. You're responsible for your choices.
It's a risk. And the man's responsible, I think, for his as well, and knowing what the current divorce laws are, which are not in his favor.
Correct, yeah.
When he gets married, he's knowing, okay, this is a gamble. This is going to be a risk. That's why a lot of guys, I don't think, trust their own judgment abilities and are just afraid to give it a shot.
Right, because women change after marriage.
She could change for the worse and he could change or not change. Like, I think what they say is women often change when he wants her to stay the same.
Yeah.
And he does not change when she wants him to.
Yeah. Well, why would you marry a man you want to change?
Well, girls are notorious at doing that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Missionary dating.
Yeah.
She's going to fix him and rehabilitate him. It's like a home makeover TV show kind of thing where she falls in love with an investment property because she sees the potential behind it. Oh, I know there's some red flags. You know, I know he has this habit and that habit. And, you know, and his friends call him El Chapo. But like, you know, I can fix him. And then you get married and turn the person into a project, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Because you can't be just nagging a guy.
Yeah.
And like telling, like, would you agree that it's not a wife's place to nag her husband or tell him what to do?
100%.
Okay.
But in the same respect, she should be able to be straightforward and honest with him about, like, honey, if you're going to go look at your Pornhub stuff, you know, I need you to know that it's very hard for me to respect you as a man. And if you need these sexual whatever's from me, you know, I know we got married, but it's really kind of hard for me to be into it when you want to use my body to lust after these women in your imagination. I think she can shoot straight with that guy. And if she's incapable of shooting straight in a respectful and loving way, I don't think they even have a marriage to begin with.
So let me get this straight. Let's say he's military. Hard job in society.
Oh, yeah.
And she can't respect him because he watches porn sometimes.
He's not respecting himself.
That's ridiculous.
He's not respecting women.
That's ridiculous.
Respect isn't something you demand. It's something, in my opinion, your lifestyle should merit.
Yeah.
Like I'm not having an erotic moment with my laptop because I miss my wife. Oh, respect me. It's like, respect yourself. Turn off the laptop and write a love letter to your wife back home.
Isn't that kind of like gay though, to police another man's dick? That kind of gay.
I'm not interested in being the guy's police. It's his job to do it. And he's in dereliction of his own duty.
Right, but not hers. It's not her job.
Well, I think
it's between him and God. Like, it's not her job to do that.
Well, then I could say, well, I can just my wife can have an affair with me, and that's just between her, or she can have an affair with someone else, and that's between her and God. Who am I to say?
No, because like if you believe in the hierarchy, then it goes God, men, women, children.
But if
you're more egalitarian, then you might say it's equal and we both should be policing each other. But if it's a hierarchy, then he would be policing her.
If he's going to a brothel while he's, off in another country, is that between him and God?
Yeah.
Really? So he could be bringing home HPV to his wife, and that's just, it's between me and God.
Most women bring HPV into marriage, to be honest, the majority.
It's
statistically
44%.
Statistically, it's actually no. By the time the average age of first marriage is around 30 now, and by the time women have 30, 80 to 90% that were sexually active, which most women are before marriage. So most women come into marriage with HPV.
I mean, the last numbers I saw, the current prevalence of HPV is about 44%.
That's including women. They'll get it later. They'll get it later.
But regardless, I mean, they've got it. It's not good.
Yeah.
You know, but he could be bringing home a whole host of stuff that would really not only emotionally impact her, but physically impact her.
Yeah.
Why can't he just, if he's such a soldier, I know
I'm
guys
not saying,
in the special
I'm not
ops.
saying that she should do it, that he should do it, but if he does, I think it's between him and God. It's not her job to police him.
But the marriage is between her and him and God, all three of them.
If she finds out, like, sure, but like, it's not your it's not your job to police what your husband's doing.
But if there's no transparency, then there is no relationship.
Oh God, the more transparent you are, the more we weaponize it against you guys.
Well, I think she does have a weapon to use.
You have to know that with women. Come on,
but like
women.
A man serving in the armed forces is capable of heroic feats with his body. I know. I was with the Navy SEAL a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The hell that they can put their bodies through just to get that Navy SEAL stamp on. But you can't be true to your wife because you're cheating on your kids if you're doing this stuff as well.
Who are you to tell him that? Like, he's a Navy SEAL. I'm not going to tell him shit. You shouldn't either.
You don't have to tell him.
He's a Navy SEAL.
He should be able to tell himself. Like, if I can drive my body and train it to this extent,
that's his job.
I can't act like, I can't live without a brothel. It's like, that's a boy.
Well, I said porn.
That's not
I said porn. But yeah, even if the brothel happens.
What does porn mean?
What
pornographia?
You know what it is.
The writing or the drawings of the prostitutes. That's what it means.
Yeah.
It's visual prostitution.
Yeah.
And the idea that like I could have such self-mastery of my body until it actually matters with my wife. Because we want to look like a knight, but we don't want to bleed like one.
Yeah.
And this is where you need to bleed for your wife.
I just think that this in practice, if you as a woman are going to police what your husband's doing all the time and try to bring that into dating, is going to leave the women single forever, because that is heavy neuroticism, and that's what you're seeing in the churches.
Expecting fidelity
if you go
is neuroticism?
if you go into most churches, it's a bunch of single women. It's mostly.
Well, I was in mass this morning. There were tons of single guys.
No, that too. Yeah. But like, if you wait over a certain age, the young men drop off, because young men, they go into something, they say, what do I get out of it? Over a certain age, they get nothing out of it.
Are they dropping off or getting married?
Dropping off. Nobody's getting married.
Well,
nobody's. I was
the
just
Catholic Church is seeing the opposite right now. The young adults are flooding into the church right now. It's all over.
For now, right now. I was just at a Catholic church a little bit ago, and they're not getting married. It's mostly singles. It's like you'll have, they offset the statistics and make it high. And I know, because over the years, they've just shot so many of these stats at me, and they're so misrepresentative. It's like one family will have like 10, but your odds of getting a bunch of kids is pretty slim to none if you go to a Catholic church.
Do you think men are ready to marry?
Most men, when they're young, yeah.
Like under 25, like...
Most men have no other choice. So yeah, when a girl shows interest, they'll take it most of the time.
No other choice, meaning there aren't a lot of options for women.
1 out of 3 men are virgins or haven't had sex in the past year under 25.
1 out of 3 are virgins.
Yeah. So young Gen Z men are not like, they're not getting interest or attention from women. If you look at the dating apps, which is where people are meeting, young women are sharing. I mean, you have to know this.
Yeah, they're picking a very small percentage
very
of
small
guys.
Percentage of men. It's not based on virtue. It's who's hot.
Yeah. Well, it depends which app you're using too. Am I using Tinder, or am I using one that really says, no, faith matters to me? And because there's lots of dating apps. Typically, the bigger the app is, the more diverse it is. I find with some of the smaller concentrated apps, people say, look, I'm not into the hookup culture. I'm not interested. Yeah. Neither am I. Let's discern together.
Yeah,
so
but they'll still pick the best looking guy or the guy on stage.
Well, that's usually the guy do the same thing on the app, looking for an attractive woman? Because that's like the beginning, right? You want attraction.
Yeah, I know. But if you ever get a group, women always share the men if given choice.
If you have a group, the women.
Yeah, if you have a group of women, and like we're always going to pick the highest status men in the room.
Won't the men pick the most attractive women in the room?
No, because men, like, their attraction floor is lower. So women are only attracted to like 10-20% of men, where men are attracted to like half of women.
Okay.
I mean, they might go to Stacy first, but when she shoots him down, then he'll be like, Rachel, I wanted you my whole life, you know?
No, I mean, I was just talking to a guy recently, and he was just sharing with me how frustrated he was, because he'll ask a girl out, and then she doesn't even know what she wants.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's just getting so frustrated. He's like, is something wrong with me?
No, it's kind of, sort of, because women don't want to reproduce with average men. So right now, all of the systems are helping women to not reproduce with average men.
I mean, isn't that partly evolutionary biology?
Yeah, correct.
They want someone to secure provisions.
Correct. But then society, then as more men get iced out, like society's going to crumble.
Yeah, no, without marriage it will.
Yeah, but when you give women choice, marriage disappears.
Why do you
so
think
you either tell women you must marry that ugly guy over there that you don't like that much, which is kind of what we've done historically, and then women got more power and we said we're not doing that, and now we're going to share.
Well, why do you think guys aren't getting married? Is it just because the options are slim, or is it because of a fear or a lack of commitment?
The one part is that they find out the woman has a crazy past and they don't want to deal with it.
Okay.
So they might find out that she slept with their friend, has an OnlyFans. She might have a ton of debt. Okay. That's another thing. Women used to come with dowries. Now we're coming with debt. And but I would say the most common thing is that, men are asking, what do I get out of marriage? Yeah. And even the church has no answer. They get nothing. They don't even get obedience.
No, what you get out of marriage is a wife and a family. Like when I met Kristalina, I knew full well, if I asked her to marry me, technically I could lose everything. Yeah. But if I don't ask her to marry me, I already have. And what I mean by that is that your freedom exists to be given away. If it's not used for the sake of love, and if I have no confidence in my ability to choose a bride, to me, what you don't give away, you've already lost. And what's at stake, I think, for the guys who are just like so afraid to get married because they might get their assets taken away from them. To me, if you are more afraid of losing your assets than you are of losing your woman, then either she's the wrong woman for you or you're way too attached to your toys.
Well, that's easy to say as a high status guy. It's not. The middle and the lower class men have it a lot worse, and they're put into poverty and sometimes they don't recover. I've interviewed men that are at homeless shelters, and like one guy was a barber, and like he's homeless now. He never recovered. Yeah. So it's not being scared, but it's that the woman could change. Yeah. No, I mean. So, when you're the rich men, the wealthier men that make, I don't know what you make, but I can assume being in this business, you do well. If you make over a certain amount of money, they can recover and afford a divorce. The guys that have it really hard are the infrastructure men, the middle class men that don't make enough to afford it. Yeah. No, and you've done all the interviews, and I mean, I've heard the exact same stories from so many husbands. So why are we still pushing it?
Why are we pushing marriage?
Yeah, why?
Well, I mean, to me, the way that I look at it, this summer I got to go fishing with my kiddos up in the White Mountains of Arizona, and my little 6-year-old woke up real early, and we went down to the lake, and I put the little hook on the worm, and he cast it out there, and he's standing there at 7 a.m. in his cowboy boots, camouflage shorts, Spider-Man hoodie, Alaska baseball cap. He hooks this bass, he pulls it in, and he's just going bonkers. His smile is the size of Texas. And would I risk absolutely everything to be able to give that moment to him? Like, heck yes.
What if he hated you?
Because it's about a family.
But what if he hated you?
Why would he hate me? We're fishing.
Because what happens is a lot of the mothers are spiteful. And they are
pitting the kids against
the father. And so I interview guys that they had that white picket fence. Yeah. And then the wife took the kids, and now the kids hate him, and there's nothing that you can do. Yeah. So, like, again, it worked out well for you, and I'm happy for you. But, for every one guy it works out well for, how many how many are absolutely devastated and destroyed? And you're not going to be there when their whole life falls apart. Yeah. You're not going to be there in divorce court with them. So you're pushing something, and it's like, if I push a drug and people die because of a drug I pushed, I can be sued. But all the conservatives that push marriage, like there's no downside for you guys pushing it. Yeah. Well, like you guys get the safe society for your kids. We get that. Yeah. But like, what about him?
Well, but that's a good argument for why divorce is bad, but not a good argument for why marriage is bad.
Marriages lead to divorce.
Well, if you got to look at, okay, who is better off, a single, never married man or a married man? The married man is twice as likely to describe himself as being very happy. He has a higher income. He has more sexual activity in his life. He has a longer life expectancy. He's less likely to get cancer. Like, there's all these real benefits to marriage. Yeah, but
the issue with those stats, one, they're funded by very right-leaning institutions. Two,
is the left going to promote marriage?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't paint the whole picture. They're very deceptive, in my opinion, because it doesn't include like the people that got divorced. Yes, the guy's going to be, some men talk about their marriages as the best time in their life. The guy from Michael Knowles' church, he says it was like the happiest he ever was until she left, until she ruined his life. Yeah. And now, I got to this point where I'd interview the men and I see death in their eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Like they've lost everything. And then, it's like I do these debates. And I debated Trent Horn, I think. Yeah, I found out like one of his co-hosts or someone really close to him went through a divorce. I don't know him personally, but it's like, I know you guys see what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't understand why are you pushing marriage instead of divorce? Like, instead of getting rid of child support, alimony, and 50-50 custody, because nothing's going to be solved until that happens. Well, men are going to look at the chessboard and they're going to say, like, what do I get out of this? And it's nothing right now.
Well, if someone, like one of my groomsmen were to come up to me the day before my wedding and say, hey, Jason, I know you already know there's this no-fault divorce thing. All the divorce courts are in the favor of the women. These laws. But the federal government just took it up a notch and said it's now death penalty if a man gets divorced from his wife. and you know what I would say? I'd say, well, what time's the reception tonight? Is the dinner at 6:30? Like, I couldn't care less. Because to me, the risks are real, but it's like, well, would you get on a plane if it had a 35% chance of crashing? It's like, well,
I wouldn't get on the plane.
But that's because one reason
stupid.
But like 50% of businesses, of small business, fail in the first 5 years. 65% fail in the first 10 years. But I started 3 business. Should I not be an entrepreneur?
No, because the consequences aren't the same.
You could lose everything.
Yeah, but then you file for bankruptcy and you can do it again. Trump filed more than once. You're not put on child support that is debilitating to your life and lasts 18 years. And they're actually extending that. Like, I know a guy that's paying up to kill the kids 21. That's slavery, and it's even worse the older the guy gets. If you get divorced at like 50, you're cooked.
But what's the average child support payment in America right now for a woman? $441, and how often is it paid? 60% of the time.
I hate it when they put in those statistics, because again, it's very deceptive, because there is a portion of men that are that father like 8 different kids and they're losers, and like women love losers, so that and they don't even go after the child support because they don't make any money. So of course that's going to bring down the statistics, but if you look at the average, like in Maryland, it's around $1,000 a month. I at that rate get a surrogate. At that I think it's better for a man to get a surrogate than get married today, because at least he can raise his kid. Isn't
he probably making considerably more if he's paying that amount? Isn't it contingent upon income, not necessarily geographic location?
Well, obviously he makes more the more he makes, but I can pull out my laptop and show you the numbers for a middle class and lower class guy, but you can't live off of it. There's child support amounts and you can just go on the calculators and put in your income and figure it out. But I went to the drug addiction center the other day. Half of the men that are there, it started because of a divorce. Wow. The homeless shelter. I went to a homeless shelter in Dallas, and I just started asking the guys, who's on child support? Who's on child support? White guys in particular. You go to a white guy at a homeless shelter, I'd say half the time he's on child support, and and they'll tell you. Yeah. And so, it's easy for you to say, man up, get married, do the right thing. It's so great. Well, it's great because it worked out for you.
But what if you were to ask his ex-wife, why did you guys get divorced? Well, he became an alcoholic and, used to beat me and the kids.
Who cares?
And Who cares? I mean, but divorce is, it
doesn't mean he should be in poverty for the rest of his life.
No, we don't want that. If he's an
alcoholic.
No, you don't want that, but he might have caused his own circumstances.
No, but most abuse is mutual. So these women complaining about the men hitting him, I just want to encourage the conservatives. You got to stop believing these women. They're lying.
Do you interview as many women on that
I've interviewed
end
more.
As the men?
I've interviewed more women on men. And here's the problem when you interview women. Most interviewers give these softball interviews and don't ask the right questions.
No, I mean like the ex-wives.
Yes.
The men that you've talked to. Because I hear the stories that I've heard, like you.
Yeah.
It's like, my gosh, this poor guy, he's been just to hell and back after this divorce. But then I've sometimes talked to the women and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, he didn't tell me that.
What's the woman's story?
Well, it could be all kinds of stuff, of infidelity, of, verbal abuse and this and that and that. It was extremely toxic in the house.
And she never verbally abused him.
Oh, they probably verbally abused the heck out of each other.
So why is he in poverty?
The whole thing was toxic.
Correct. So why is he in poverty and she isn't?
Women are twice as likely to fall into poverty after divorce than a man.
Based on her choices.
Well, she's initiating most of the divorces. The woman typically is. But the question is, if this
Why
man
does she? Okay,
is
why
so
does she
good
get
to
to?
me, why would I leave him?
Why does she? Women leave good men all the time. What are you talking about?
Like if
women leave good men all the time. I saw it all the time
bad
growing
women
up.
do.
Most women are bad today. And
I don't know where the
statistically,
statistic lies.
They went through dating apps to like what percent of women don't have debt, don't have STDs. It's like 1%. So we can reasonably assume.
But don't men have more debt?
No, they don't. Women hold 80% of the world's debt. That's not true.
I heard the men actually have more.
Well, partially once they're married because women put their biggest expenses on their husband's credit cards.
Well, it should be the shared credit card, hopefully.
Yeah, but we're in 2026, man.
Yeah.
you gotta update the times.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah,
man.
this is.
Maybe if you got
2020.
separate bank accounts, I think you have a separate marriage to begin with.
Oh God, you want the same bank account?
Yeah.
So she can nag him about that too.
We hold each other accountable. We have a budget. We go over it at the end of each month.
Right, but that's egalitarian. Holding each other accountable is egalitarian.
Well, the goal is let's, as a husband and wife, set our financial goals together. I want to get retired. Hey, how about in 2 years from now, let's go to our 25th wedding anniversary. She doesn't need it. She's never asked for it. Let's make our financial goals together.
I meant in general.
And then let's say that's our goal. How do we get there together? And then it's instead of at the end of the month, which we used to do, why did you buy that? Well, you bought this. That back and forth is not good financial planning that the husband's leading. Here's our financial goal, honey. Let's get on board. Can you row with me to get to the goal?
Well, I mean, I agree, but I think we can just be real here and say, how old you're in your 40s?
I've just turned 51.
51.
I'm ancient, yeah.
You're old enough to know women make terrible financial choices.
I've seen some guys make horrible ones too.
It's not the same. Like, let's just keep it a buck here. Mm-hmm. We know it's not the same. So women are in poverty because of their poor choices. Men, like they don't spend like women do. They just don't.
Yeah.
You know that. I don't even need to study. Like, you know that.
When you're sharing these very real risks with men, I think part of it is that you're coming at it from a woman, God forbid, but women neurologically have the way you approach risk because of your brain structure is you have a very heightened fear of loss compared to the man. Men tend to be very optimistic and even overly optimistic approach towards taking risk. That's why we take high risk jobs, whether it's underwater welding or even women prefer the high security jobs. Security is very important to women. So when they see red flags, like, whoa, this is not safe.
Women
they don't
love
go there.
Red flags.
Men kind of like risk. Like I just camped on Kodiak Island a couple weeks ago, 3,500 grizzly bears on the island. And we slept outside with shelters we built ourselves.
That's crazy.
It was wonderful. Every guy I told that to said, that's awesome. Can I come next summer with you? Every woman I've told, why would you do that? Because for you, risk, the fear of loss is very, very high. So you're wanting men to think like women, but we're not going to.
Okay,
I know there's a big risk, but she's worth it.
Yeah, but if women didn't, that's just not true. Because then why do women lead in solo traveling? Why are women going out at night? Why do women write love? Why do women write?
Instagram.
Why do women write love letters to Ted Bundy? And who's producing the content on Instagram? Women.
Who is more prone to take risks in business?
Well, women wouldn't get to the business anyway because they can't manage a budget. So women wouldn't even be able to get there.
And it isn't just like cultural conditioning. They did this awesome...
Every female influencer I knew under 30 is broke now. I swear to God.
No. Well, that's the lack of prudence and financial choices, not having to do it. But the
lack
risk
of competence.
They did this
and self-control.
They did this awesome study of monkeys. They found out that these Japanese macaque monkeys, male, female, born at the same birth rate. By the time they got a couple years old, there were 5 times as many females as males. And they're like, oh, do the men not have a good immune system? Where are all the men going? And they researched it, and they found because the testosterone in these monkeys, they were far more likely to make miraculously stupid and risky decisions. Like, I can jump from this tree to that tree. And the other monkey's like, no, you can't. He's like, wait, hold my beer. And he's dead. I can run across the bridge before the truck comes. No, you can't. He's dead. So they found out that the women are 5 times as more likely to live longer just because the guys made really stupid, risky decisions. Whereas the female monkey is like, well, I'll just climb down and walk over to the other tree. It's not a social conditioning kind of thing. We're wired to want to risk. And that applies to my discernment process of marriage. Well then, I know this is a big risk, but I'm going to go full send because I can't imagine my life without this woman.
Then why aren't men getting married?
No, well, that's a very good question. I mean, one, what I've experienced from the guys, I'm trying to ask these girls out. They're not interested. They don't even know what they want, or they only want this and not me. Other guys are so hooked on porn, they don't even want to bother with a wife because, like, my goodness, then she's going to have needs and demands and moods and emotions, and who needs all that stuff when I've got my laptop? So some guys are de-incentivized to marriage because they're living their little fantasy life, and they're living in their mom's basement on looking at pornography and playing Minecraft. They're 28. But affectively, they're 14 years old. They're not men ready to marry. And so some of the women are not ready to be married too. They're entering into marriage very immature and unformed. And the same is true of many men.
Well, a third of them say they hate men, like a third of Gen Z women.
That would be openly. A very sad stat. I mean, I know a lot of women, and they don't express that hatred, at least openly, towards me. That'd be very sad if it's true, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say that, but like they're being encouraged, like, I think you hate male sexuality if you're policing your husband's porn addiction. I think that is for. That's not, I think that's
not male sexuality. It's a misuse of it.
Yeah, but
my sexuality is not going to explode if I can't use a woman. Well, then that's lust. It's
okay. Then why do half of pastors have affairs?
Because they're not practicing what they're preaching. They're broke. They're messed up individuals that make stupid decisions that destroy their families, their marriages.
Then why couldn't the priests do it either?
Priests have a very low rate. You see all these stats of child abuse. A kid is far more likely to be abused. The number one perpetrator of sexual abuse against kids isn't the clergy. It's not a living boyfriend.
The women.
You know who it
is? The teachers in school. The women. They're the ones sleeping with the students.
Do you know who it is? Most likely
stepdad.
Not even. Nope.
Stepdad.
Guess again.
Wait. Most likely to sexually abuse
a child.
I would have said stepdad, but who? I don't know.
11 to 15-year-old boys have been exposed to porn. Their stepsister has a sleepover party with whatever. The cousin comes over, crap happens, never gets reported. Number one abuser.
So it's a step sibling?
No. Any 11 to 15-year-old boy who's been exposed to porn is the most likely person to sexually abuse a child.
Oh, you're saying because they watch the porn,
they see it, and they want to experiment on it with their 8-year-old cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm
not saying to give it to kids, but I think there's just a point where, like, what is the man supposed to do if his wife won't sleep with him? So you put the men in a position where they're enslaved to their wife's emotions, because now the only way they can have sex is from their wife. She says no. We agree that shouldn't be enforced legally. Fine.
Why don't they go to deal with their marriage? I mean, the grass is always green on the other side. Maybe it's time to water your own grass. Like, maybe we need to go on a marriage retreat. Maybe I need to start taking her out on more dates. I got a buddy. He's been married for 20 years, and he's never missed his weekly date night with his bride in 20 years, rain or shine. He takes her on a date. It's like, so my guess is she's probably pretty receptive to a man who's still pursuing her 20 years deep into the marriage.
Okay, then why are men reporting that women go on dates with them and bang another guy after?
That would be heartbreaking. Just like if the husband cheats on the wife. It's heartbreaking.
It's not really the same.
No, but like marriage, like divorce and brokenness is a bit like obesity in the sense that usually somebody has something to do with it. Meaning I could have a metabolic issue that's beyond my control, but I'm this 40% divorce rate, a 35% divorce rate. That's not across the board. Meaning your divorce rate changes depending on your socioeconomic status, your race, your religion, how often you go to church, your sexual history, all these things. I knew a professor of philosophy in Dallas who told her students, if you guys get divorced, I'm going to give you $1,000 if you do 4 things. And she said, here it is. Number 1, don't have sex before marriage. And if you have, just stop for the year before your wedding. Secondly, don't shack up and play house and live together. Third thing, when it comes time to plan your family, how many kids you have, don't use contraception, use fertility awareness methods, NFP, not the old rhythm method that didn't work, NFP. And when you get married, just give 10% of your money to the poor or the church. She said, if you do those 4 things, I'll give you $1,000 if you get divorced. No one's ever asked her for the money.
When was this?
When was this? Like 20, 30 years ago. And
before social media.
She's been teaching all this time. Same promise keeps going up.
That's before Tinder, Jason. You got to update with the times. That would not work
So you're telling me that would not work today?
Oh, hell no.
Why would that not work?
One, I think it's kind of insulting to ask a man to pay a higher price for something that another guy got for free. Most men are going to hear that and say, why on earth would I do that?
Pay a price, meaning marry her?
Yeah. So now basically she gave it up for free to Chad, Tyrone, Gloctavius, all these dudes. And now you have to pay a higher price.
That was a loan. I consider marriage the gift. I get her.
Yeah. I mean, you can sell that, but like women will eat that up, but men are going to hear that and just, no, they're not going to. That's why men are leaving the church.
You know my wife's story.
Yeah, I know I do.
I mean, she came from a broken family, lost it when she was 15 after 3 years of living the wild, crazy life.
Yeah.
And she said that in high school, she said, I'm never going to get divorced.
Yeah.
And I know how. I'm never going to get married. That was the bulletproof strategy.
Yeah.
And then she realized, I'm miserable using these guys. I've got love to give, and I'm not giving to these guys. I'm getting used, and I'm using, and this sucks.
Yeah.
And then she turned things around. I met her years later, and it's possible, but not if you don't have hope.
I mean, it's possible, but most men don't want to do that. Like, they don't want to know that she banged all these guys for free, and now they have to pay a higher price and commit to her for the rest of their life and give up all other women. That maybe that was a good deal for you. I'm not saying, I'm glad it worked out.
And what's he been doing in the meantime?
What most
the same?
No, most men are sexless, so they don't get sex.
Are most men virgins on their wedding night?
No, because women pick the top men, but most men aren't getting the
Is that a top man?
Well, I would say in churches, the stereotype is that it's the naive guy and the whore girl. That's the stereotype. So it's the young guy, usually that can't do better, and then the whore that's been through everybody. And then she usually runs the relationship because he's naive. Yeah. And so she starts nagging him and telling him what to do. And now it's porn stars. Now, I don't know if that's you guys. I'm not saying it is, but that is the stereotype now. I mean, it's because when you incentivize bad behavior, that's what you get.
Yeah. I mean,
so when you say, hey, whores, you get to go on stage and you get to be the highest status person in the church. Like, they're going to do it.
But I'm a big free speech guy.
Yeah.
And so I want the nun on stage. I want the ex-con on stage. If they've reformed their life and they're a new creation, hey, tell us how we can start over because we got our baggage too.
No, I don't want to hear from them. I think they need to have some humility and go to the back of the church and not talk for a while and just work on their faith. And then later they can maybe talk.
See, I just think of the church as like a hospital for sinners, not like some museum of saints. Like if only the perfect people could talk, it would be basically a silent liturgy.
I know, but you need a standard of good behavior for a while before you talk.
For a while.
Yeah. So, and I would say over 7 years, because that's the average. Most people leave after 7.
It went from 20 down to 7 now. So we're cutting down.
No, I meant 7 years in churches.
Okay.
So the average church is like 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
So then people switch and they go to a different church or they stop being religious. So a lot of the people coming to the Catholic Church now, I would predict they're going to leave in 7 to 8 years, especially the men if they don't get married, which I think most of them are expecting and hoping to get a wife, and it's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing it constantly. Our church has on like the first Friday of every month, candlelight mass for the young adults, 7 o'clock at night. Hundreds and hundreds of young adults come together to meet each other, to go on dates, to go hang out. Like because I think the church has a responsibility to give people more than an app, like opportunities to connect.
I agree.
And it's not enough to say, hey, good luck to you. We've got to create opportunities for them to meet each other and start their vocation. So we started these wilderness backpacking things so young adults could meet. And we just got our first engagement last week. It was awesome. They texted us the picture like, we met on the hike and we just got engaged. I'm like, game on.
Well, you gotta say to the women, you're not that hot, you're overweight, and this is your looks match. But and they're never going to do that.
But you can't hang your coat on a hook that can't bear the weight. And what I mean by that is if like you make that the top priority, you know, a size 0 jeans. Well, it's like, she might get a first date, but does she know how to be a wife? Like there's other stuff besides that.
Yeah, but let's just be real. If I go to these churches, it's usually the Chad and the Stacys that are together. It's like the best looking ones.
Well, and there's a guy right in front of me at mass this morning. He's a bodybuilder. I mean, the guy was just gigantic. Had a little girl next to him.
I'll just put it like this. Right now, women have power in society. Okay.
In some ways.
Pretty much all the ways. Women have the power. So right now, when you give women choice in dating, we choose to share men when we're given choice. So right now,
is it that they're sharing or they're both choosing the same guy and fighting?
They're both choosing, the same guy. Yeah,
they're not sharing. They're probably fighting over it.
I mean,
who gets him?
If you look at dating apps, we are sharing.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is you're going to have more young men that are single, and the church is going to have to take a stand. They either do arranged marriages or they say, here's choice, and the men still get nothing in return for being a part of the church.
Is it possible that, let's say the women are picking the top 5%, which is understandable. They'd want a provider and a high value man, even though I hate that expression. Could that perhaps make the guys who are down here in the bottom 95 be like, maybe I need to step up my game and quit living in my mom's basement and playing Call of Duty?
No, they do. But the problem is when they see Tom Brady get divorced and men that are like the highest men, and even church leaders get divorced, they think, well, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
No, and there is very little they can do. So like, I think the conservative media, a lot of their careers are going to be contingent on addressing this issue. You guys have to.
Yeah. But I think marriage is worth trying and learning how to do well. And what way they need to get the skills to be a good husband and wife, discernment, which they don't have. Is this a good pick to begin with or not? And then help within the marriage instead of it's all too risky, just run in the other direction. Because like if I die because I'm so afraid that a woman might take all my stuff and cheat on me or whatever, and I'm in my deathbed surrounded by all my assets and diversified portfolio, I'm not going to be like, I did it. I never had kids. I never had a wife. I never had my heart broken. I won.
But some men do. I lost. Yeah, but some men do exactly what you are prescribing, and they still wind up alone. And have no choice or fault of their own.
But like, what's my odds of having a happy marriage if I never try? 0%. I'm not going to put my money on that.
But men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide after divorce. So, some of these men die.
Yeah, well, but if we really care about the men, the most likely suicide category for men would be divorced men. Underneath that would be single, never married men, and underneath that is married men. So if we want the lowest divorce rate for guys, we should encourage them to enter into and stay inside of a functional marriage.
Yeah, but you can't do that. Like in a business partnership, you're much more in control. In a marriage, you can't control another person.
No, yeah.
And also that includes, the issue with that statistic is they include men that have really bad habits like alcoholism, like men that wouldn't be qualified for marriage anyway, because they're just like either super obese, super...
aren't guys like 4 times as likely to commit suicide than women anyway, just because we solve problems with violence more effectively? So like we're more prone to that.
I actually think women try more, but
attempt more.
Yeah, they
but
attempt.
Not succeed.
Yeah, because we can't.
It's often
we can't do anything. Even that. I saw a video of a girl who tried to kill herself with a gun and survived, and now she's like has no face. I'm like, girl, why would you do that?
Well, she's crying out for intervention, is what it is. But obviously, not.
I'm like, how could you survive that? Look, I mean, I just think conservatives are losing, and this is why. And I really hope that conservatives figure this out.
What do you mean this is why?
I've heard that the pendulum's going to swing back for like a decade. And I believe that conservatives are lying because there's no indication that that's going to happen in the near future. So what's going to happen is the sex work is going to go up. Churches are just going to get ex-whores and single men. And the more we incentivize bad behavior, the more we're going to see it.
Well, what do you call a man who has the same behavior past that she does?
Accomplished, because it's actually hard to do that.
But this is the thing: is like if a
men and women
has
are the same,
and a girl has sex, they get called completely different names for the
a good
exact
reason.
Same behavior.
For a good
reason,
he
gets congratulated in the locker room, and she's getting condemned in the hallway.
Correct.
But they did the same thing.
Correct.
And it's like, to me, it's a double standard. It's
it
just
is.
like
it is, and that's true.
Boys are gonna be boys.
I know, but you guys you can come in and say it's wrong or whatever. But it doesn't matter because the world will show the result that it is a double standard and it's not the same. So you can say, oh, boo hoo, but it doesn't matter.
But don't you think a woman would also be have to think twice if a guy has an extremely promiscuous past and hasn't really started over? She's got to think, okay, how long ago was that lifestyle? And did he really pivot and change?
We can't help it. We're attracted to it.
Yeah, but you can choose what you do with your attraction. So
I know, but
you're attracted to it, meaning his sexual past?
Yeah.
Or what would be attractive about the fact that a man can't practice self-control?
That he can get bitches. We like men that can get bitches. We don't like men that can't.
But like them for what?
We like
to feel desired by them.
No,
because you want to be the next item on the menu. If I want him to want me, it's not that I actually want him.
No, it's biological. It's because it shows that he could take care of another woman. So biologically,
but he isn't taking care of any of them.
Well, not today,
He's
but I know today, but there's still biological reasons why we feel the way we feel. There's biological reasons why you have to be repulsed by a woman's past. Yeah. Men, that's how they feel. They can't help it. So even if the woman maybe did change your life, he's still going to feel that way. I'm sure you guys counsel people all the time that have that problem. Because biologically, he had to ensure paternity. Biologically, we had to pick a guy that could get bitches. It just is what it is.
It reminds me that
it just is what it is.
Song in the gym, Pitbull or Neo, or whoever, give me everything tonight. For all we know, we might not have tomorrow. And I listened to that and I'm like, do you hear it? It sounds like a bank robbery. Give me everything you have tonight. We might not have tomorrow. What am I doing here if we don't get tomorrow? Because I remember Pope John Paul II once said, the person who does not decide to love forever will have a very difficult time loving for even one day. And so that man didn't take care of any of those women. He just used them and then discarded them. And women were in line to be like, pick me next, pick me next. I'll be the one you want more than all of those girls.
Yeah,
they don't
true.
desire him. They want to be desired by him.
Whatever the reasoning, the behavior is going to persist. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point isn't, is it good, right, wrong? I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
It's not, I like to predict where things are going to go and be accurate. And if we're going to be accurate, yeah, it doesn't matter what we say. You could say that's wrong. Women are always going to pick men, the top men.
So basically,
always.
You would propose the idea that women really don't know what to look for in a husband that's going to stick around for the long haul.
Well, there's alpha fucks, beta bucks. So there's genetic material and provisioning for the kids. So like,
But who do you pick as a spouse? Well, how do you know this guy is marriage material?
We want to have our cake and eat it too. So that's why women have the promiscuous past with alpha fucks, and then beta bucks after have the guy take care of it. So because a woman's mating strategy is going to be paternity fraud. Not saying that's obviously wrong. We don't want that, but it's to have kids with one guy and convince another guy to take care of it.
Because
that's the top genetics.
Do you think that that's predetermined in her mind? That she's got this all mapped out?
I don't think
I'm going to go sleep with a bunch of guys and then settle down with the beta.
It's not predetermined. It's the same way like men, it's not predetermined that they're disgusted by sluts. They just feel that way. Some women do plan it, to be fair. I have interviewed women.
Yeah, there could be like your gold digger type of person.
No, paternity fraud is a real thing. And so I mean, I just interviewed a guy that said 3 out of 10 men he grew up with found out their dad wasn't their dad.
Yikes.
So, and he was like 70. So that's not new. Yeah. So, I mean.
But what's the solution? Isn't it education in human love?
Oh, God,
like starting and actually teaching people the difference between loving and using a person from the time that they're young, so that they can realize this guy doesn't want me any more than a smoker wants a cigarette. Like smokers don't want cigarettes. They want the feeling they get from the nicotine in the cigarette. And when they're done smoking, they flick it to the curb.
I wish that was true.
Girls feel wanted and they realize he didn't want me.
I wish that was true. It's just not true.
You don't think they could be educated?
No, because I've seen women that are educated and know all this stuff and make terrible life choices, like the Sarah Stock situation. She got her marriage blessed by the Pope. Who else did you need? And you still banged your boss. So yeah, there's biological reasons, and that predicts the behavior better, in my opinion.
Do you think the risk is better not to get married, of what that would mean
for men? Yeah. But occasionally rich men, maybe it's worth it because you can get some things out of it.
What's the game plan for him then? What's the option for the guy who decides marriage is, and I'm not saying everybody needs to get married or should get married, but for the guy who thinks it's too scary, it's too risky, what is his option long game?
Well, I'll never tell a man what to do. If a man wants to get married and he's weighed the risks and he knows what they are, there's precautions you can take. Yeah. But most men can't afford them, if we're going to be honest. And like, what am I going to tell a guy who doesn't want to get married to do?
He can't afford the risk?
Well, because I'd recommend most men get a background check. That costs money. And if you're an average, like, working class guy, you might not want to pay that. I'd say to consult with a divorce attorney before to figure out what legal rights you have as a man and how you can, like, different men come, like, some men put their money in their mother's name and if they want to do it. But you do have to protect yourself as a man. You cannot be naive today. Women have way too much power. They can ruin your reputation. They can steal your children legally. They have the school system on their side. They could falsely accuse you of rape, abuse, and all this stuff. Like, you have to protect yourself as a man.
And if he decides then it is too scary, then what's his life?
You think a man needs a wife to have a good life?
No, I don't think everybody should get married. It's not right for some.
Okay, so then we agree.
But if he's avoiding it out of fear, I think there's an issue there. That at the end of the day, he's going to realize this was not a W. That I never had a wife. I never took the risk. I never had my heart broken. I never had the family. I didn't have it all, but I'm safe.
Why do you need to get the government involved?
What is he going to just like shack up with his girlfriend?
Well, aren't the vows between you and God? Like, why does the government?
It's between you and God in front of your family.
Yeah. So why do you even need to legally get married?
Well, marriage as an institution historically has been to legally bind a father to his offspring for the well-being of the children. That's why matrimony means the duty of the mother, meaning this is about a family, not just about because the government couldn't care less about your romantic relationship.
So why do they even need to get involved?
Why not? To me, it's just like, let's make this as official as possible. State, God, family, you, me, this is real. Yeah,
because I don't think there's virtue in being stupid. And I think it's stupid to put yourself at more of a legal risk than you have to.
So is it stupid to get married?
Yeah. I mean, without taking precautions, yes.
What's a precaution that would make marriage not stupid?
Less stupid, prenup. Yeah. Prenup. I just told you, background check, meeting with a lawyer before. There's a lot of, you can do an irrevocable trust. I mean, you'd have to talk to an expert on that, not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, to jump blindly into marriage, yeah, I totally think it's dumb.
Yeah, well, I'm not advocating blinding jumping. I think you need a lot of people giving you some seriously good advice, because often you get thinking, oh no, this is the best person ever, and you're not have accountability with mentors of just like, hey, there's some serious red flags in here you better pay attention to. And if you're just kind of going Lone Ranger, you can just go off a cliff.
Yeah, but most mentors are enslaved to their wife's emotions, and who wants that? Like,
well, to me, it would be a married mentor couple would be ideal. We didn't have one when we were engaged, and I kind of regret that in the sense that we could have used some like, hey, this is a red flag we're seeing. You guys should probably work on this. I know a priest who, instead of giving the couples what's called the focus test, which is kind of just a basic examination of how you guys doing, he gives them the annulment paperwork while they're engaged. It's 100 questions, deep dive of everything. He said, I'm not going to deal with this 7 years from now when you guys decide you're not getting along. We're dealing with it now. And God bless that priest. He takes a deep dive so they can unearth the stuff now instead of being surprised by it 6 months down the road.
Well, none of it's working because it's all getting worse. So,
well, I mean, that's not really a statistic. It's more of an attitude of it. It's hopeless. It's not worth doing. I mean, a year and a half from now, we're celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary.
No, but what is your evidence that society, marriage is getting better?
The median age of a marriage, of a first marriage in America right now, is greater than 21 years. People hear, average marriage lasts 8 years. That's completely false.
Okay.
The median age, meaning if you took everyone in their first marriage who's alive today, more than half of them have been married for more than 21 years. And so this idea of fear-mongering, it's all just going to be doom and gloom.
Couple issues you got with that statistic. Number one, it's actually worse if the guy gets divorced after 20 years. That's way worse. Completely, because she can take more years of work. And so like, again, if a guy gets divorced at 50, it's going to be way worse than 30. At least at 30, he can recover. The child support's done by the time he gets to 50. So worse. Second issue with that statistic is that you're including women.
How long are you paying child support for an 18-year-old kid?
The second issue that you're going to have to deal with is that you're including women that are boomers, and you're including Gen X women. And there's no indication that Gen Z women are going to have better results than those women, because Gen Z women have been on, I'm a young millennial, because I would say under 35, right? Those women, like, we've been on social media since we were 12. That completely warps your brain. A quarter of women are on around 15% of Gen Z women are on OnlyFans. If you take the attractive women, it's probably higher. That doesn't include the low-level sex work, promiscuity. Like, promiscuity is rampant among Gen Z, especially with sex work. So it's like, there's no indication it's going to get better. Well, and a third are saying that they hate men. So you can't. They rank men 7th on their priority list. They put traveling above men. When you ask them, how important are men to you? They say, I'd rather do anything else.
Yeah. Well,
and these are like, on top of that, even the churches are telling the women they don't have to obey their husbands.
Well, the Bible doesn't say obey, it says submit. And there's a world of difference between the two. She's not my property or my possession.
What would be wrong with that? What would be wrong with that? Why not?
Well, I'm not going to treat my bride like my child. I'm not going to put her in timeout.
I wish more husbands would. Your wives torture us. I wish more husbands would.
Yeah. Well, I don't think many wives aspire to be treated like a child.
Oh.
I mean, maybe someone might want to act like it, but I think to be treated like it and just talked down to and like, you will do this or you're in timeout, to me it's treating her more like a possession.
You'd be surprised these days.
I don't know many happy marriages where that's the dynamic at play.
Okay. But so I forgot what you were saying before that.
But it's risky.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to downplay that at all. I've heard, they're in my inbox right now of the husbands and the wives too, of them sending, because I'm hearing both sides of the stories.
Yeah.
There's a huge risk. You could lose everything. But if you're not willing to, I think you already have lost it all.
Well, obviously you're going to say that because you need a safe future for your kids. So I can understand your incentive for that. But again, average men are going to hear this, and like lower status men, and they're just not going to do it. So
they're free to make their choices.
Yeah,
but
I know.
to me,
but I would recommend, I really think I would like to encourage conservatives to fight for marriage reform and telling women to shut up. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I would want to fight for is for the guys to understand, like, your freedom is best measured by your capacity to love. And if you're living in fear, you're not free. If you're living in lust, you're not free. Only a man who has self-control and who can actually face his fears can be free to love a woman and build something beautiful. It's possible, but not if you're scared to death that it'll never happen. You got to face your fears if you're a man. You really do. It doesn't mean you have to get married. Not everybody's called to get married, but your vocation is the definitive direction of love in your life, who you're going to make a gift of yourself to. And if it's like, you're not safe, I'm just living in this shell and this, like a cage, because it's safe over here, but that cage is going to become a coffin. I think the cage is going to become a coffin for the guy.
You're saying that if men don't want to get married, they're in cages.
Because of fear. If it's fear that's making him run away from marriage, then yes.
What if
that's not the calling for me.
What if they say, I get nothing out of this? It's not worth it.
I would say, guess what? Marriage isn't about you. And if you think it is, it's probably the wrong vocation for you.
Yeah, I think
happiness isn't something marriage gives me. Happiness is something I better bring into my marriage.
Okay, well, I just want you to know that mindset is going to be why more men are going to hear that and not get married and leave the church. So
I think guys will hear it and realize, like, no, there's some things in life worth fighting for, and marriage happens to be one.
Yeah, well, if you look at church attendance, I know there's been a slight spike, but overall the last 20 years, it's lower than ever.
It hasn't been slight. It's astronomical. What's happening. All these young people who have binged the hookup lifestyle, all that stuff, realized it promised me everything and it gave me nothing. Now there's something transcendent and stable and sacred.
I was just looking at the numbers the other day. It's still like 8-1 in terms of like leaving versus coming. I'd have to look it up again. I don't know off the top of my head.
Please
but
do,
overall in America, church attendance is down.
Not in the Catholic Church. It's starting to see this massive boom of young people coming back into it. Young adults in their 20s and 30s.
It's still going down. I just tweeted about this the other day. I mean, I could pull it up if you want, but no. Overall, the Catholic Church is losing attendance. Sometimes what they do is they'll like look at like 2020 to 2023 and show it's like, oh, it's booming from 2020, but overall the trend is still down. Well, if you look at like the last 50 years,
the global population of Catholics is increasing, not decreasing.
Okay,
it's now the largest Christian denomination in the world at about 1.2 billion. Yeah. So like it's growing, but I mean, I don't know if there's a point of argument this direction, that direction.
It's fine.
My only point was that I think what we're starting to see, I believe, is that a generation of people who've just been so sick of the noise of social media, hookup cultures, godlessness, that they want something transcendent and sacred and stable, and they're coming home to the church.
And if that were true, then OnlyFans wouldn't be here. So.
Oh no, I mean,
it's getting worse,
guys. It's made
guys.
sin more accessible than ever.
I'd like to say I don't sell hope. It's going to get worse, and enjoy the decline. So.
Well, to me, it's just making sin easier to get. Because like when I was a kid, if you want to see porn, it took time, money, and effort to go get that stuff. You need to take a lot of risk to steal your friend's dad's porn collection out of his nightstand. Now we're giving it to our 14-year-old boys in their smartphone with no filters. Yeah. And by the time they get to 28 years old, they don't even know how to say no to temptation while they're in a bathroom by themselves for 5 minutes on Instagram.
I think for every conversation we have about porn, there should be 5 for women on social media.
What do you mean on? Like you're on social media?
Yes.
So should you not be on social media?
In a perfect world, I wouldn't be.
Okay.
Totally. That's why.
But can men be on social media?
Men, it's not as detrimental because women feed off of male attention where men like sex.
Okay.
So women, we don't want sex as much as men unless it's from like the top guys' genetics. But yeah, so basically you're giving men access, like women access to replace their husbands easily. With social media, it's marketing.
No, I mean, you're not going to get me to argue with you. We need a heck of a lot less social media.
Yeah, for women though, it's got to like the church has got to start talking about female sin. And that's like the number one way women are doing it now. It's social media. I never see the churches call out women dressing half naked on it ever. I mean, they'll do it to church. I see them at the churches nowadays dressed half naked, and the men are too weak to call them out. Yeah. So like we need to have more conservatives talking about female sin. The men have heard it. They know. So.
Yep. No, I mean, we just put out a video a couple days ago on modesty and women in bikinis if they're Christian. We're not afraid to speak out on it, not because we're shaming the women, but rather male modesty is an issue too. And I think we both need to work on this virtue.
But it's not the same. Like that's almost like feminism right there. Because you keep saying, every time I talk about female sin, we always have to say men. Why? It's a female sin. Men
what's
don't
a female sin?
Immodesty is a female sin.
The immodesty of a man's intentions could be far more immodest than any outfit she could ever put on. And so what's the cause of robbery? The presence of jewelry in the window of the store, or the presence of greed in the heart of the robber?
No, women get naked far before men even ask them to. I go to gyms. The men will look down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
No, it's appalling.
The men are looking down, trying not to look at the women. Women get naked first. Far before the men even ask them to.
She's in the mirror with her phone and dressed up.
That's what I'm saying. Women are the predators. We got to stop treating them. Most of the time they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, we got to stop talking about porn. Men know. Most men aren't excited that they're watching porn. It's kind of an L. They couldn't get a girl. Yeah. They're not excited. They know.
Yeah.
Do you know who doesn't know? Women, how detrimental their social media habit is.
Yeah.
So it's like for every, so I just would like conservatives. I think I don't know why none of them will talk about this stuff, but it's just,
No, I'd like you to keep speaking on it because social media just rots you.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the rule of thumbs I try to give young adults is only use social media standing up. Don't use it lying down. Because if you're throwing that up, 45 minutes go by, whoa, where did my life just go?
Married women, no pictures on social media. No pictures. Stop torturing your families.
What about single women? Do they put pictures on social media?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're single.
Okay, because you're putting yourself out there to be...
to be found. But once you're married, you put it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's your... Okay. But what if they're putting pictures that they're not doing it to be found? They're
worse.
Just sharing with their friends on Facebook.
They torture the kids by posting their family on social media and invading the kids' privacy.
No, I don't recommend parading around your children.
I'm sure I don't think you guys do that. Yeah. But there's a lot of women that do.
Yeah.
And I've seen women, especially in the conservative circles, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully their intentions are good. I just wanted to show people, hey, a beautiful family is possible, but I'm with you.
If you
shut
get
it off as most as possible.
Intentions, who cares?
Yeah.
Results.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Anyways, I think we're at about time. Did you have fun?
I did.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming out here. And,
I had a great time. Would you want to do it again?
I'd be honored.
Yeah. Okay. Where can they find you? And do you have a speaking tour?
Yeah. No, we're traveling globally.
Can we add in the speech? Social, all the things women are doing wrong.
Believe I don't hold back. I don't pull punches with the guys or the girls, the whole assembly. I try to be happy but demanding of both of them.
So for equal time about porn, we're going to talk about women's social media habit. Equal time.
Well, I don't go into the habits of social. I go into modesty with the women. I'm very forthright and challenging the women on that.
But social media is work. Gen Z, that's the number one problem.
Oh, no, we bring it up.
Social media, but women, not both, just women.
Yeah.
Women.
But not men. They don't need to worry about how much time they're spending on social media.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. They're not.
So he can just sit there and doom scroll all day and just rot.
Yes.
Just bed rot is good for a man?
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay.
Bed rot is good for a man.
Yeah, because that's not going to...
All the expectations he have of women's bodies. It's just, that's good.
That's fine.
Good.
They can...
Don't get a job. Don't feed the poor.
No, men's social media, when they go on it, the women get naked. Men will watch anime and then women get naked and come into it.
Yeah.
They're not even looking for it.
Well, they're putting themselves in an occasion where they know it just might happen. But oh my goodness,
no, I'm telling you.
If
you look at reels and scroll them, it's like fishing, anime. If you look at their reels, and then the women just get naked and go into them.
Well that's why
then the girl's like, here's how I fish, and then her tits are out. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
I think it's smart for couples. This is my thing. Total transparency on phones.
Oh God,
110%.
No, you can't do that.
And if I can't be transparent with my phone, then I'm not transparent with you.
I would say the women have to be transparent and the men don't, because the women will find something to complain about. I bet you've been the perfect husband.
No, I haven't.
I bet you've never even strayed, right?
No, I've never had any affairs or anything.
Yeah.
I don't look at
I
porn.
bet she still found something to complain about because that's women.
Well, no,
that's women.
She complains and I complain, and we're just trying to work through it.
Yeah.
There's some.
Don't let these ladies torture you. You got to tell them to shut up. You got to tell them.
I prefer a different approach, but in terms of how people can find us, we have a website, just chastity.com. On Instagram, we put stuff out every day at Jason Evert. Same thing on YouTube at Jason Evert. We've got this hiking thing we do called JP2 Trails, where we do the hikes.
Yeah.
So we're traveling all around, speaking at colleges and high schools around America all year long. And you can see the schedule at chastity.com.
Cool. Well, thanks. Yeah. Thanks for having me and working this out. And we'll do it again.
It's been great. Thanks, bro.
All right.